It's day 250, Arukh HaShulchan OC, somewhat of a milestone. If you'd like to sponsor an upcoming Shir more of Arukh HaShulchan OC, it'd be greatly appreciated. Please contact me directly. Today we're doing Siman Kuf Ayin Aleph, Sif Aleph through Sif Kuf Ayin Gimel, Sif Aleph. Kuf Ayin Aleph, Shalom Hog B'Zayim Ba'ochlin, not to denigrate food. Aleph, Chazal also l'ishtamesh mini ochlim davar sheish lam b'zayim. Chazal forbade one to use foodstuffs in a manner which denigrates them. Because it looks like you are kicking at the brachos of Hashem. But other needs which are not degrading the food, you can do them afilu bepas, even with bread, which is the primary foodstuff of humanity, at least in the olden days. As long as that's something which caused the bread to be repugnant. Something causes the bread to be repugnant or sore, because it's degrading for the food, for the bread, and so too for other types of food. That's why you don't put raw meat on bread because it makes it disgusting. And you don't take a full cup and pass it over bread. Maybe it'll spill on the bread and make it disgusting. You should also not use it to support a plate, which is full of soup or cereal or davar mamis or anything else which may make the bread disgusting. It's going to fall on the bread and make it disgusting. But if there's nothing in the plate which is going to make the bread disgusting, you're allowed to support, put the plate on an angle on the bread. That's not considered to be denigration. The ose adam person can use the bread for all sorts of uses and certainly other food as long as it's not rendered less edible as a result. If you're using it for the purpose of a person, even though it's going to be lost as a result, this is not being done in a way which is degrading. Kigon, such as when you spray wine through the house to give it a good fragrance, or use oil in order to anoint the body. We say person can soak his bread in wine and put it on his eye because it is healing. Even though the bread is going to become disgusting that way. The Cayman show says that therefore, since they're doing it by way of healing, though they're chashchas and not by way of destroying, mutar tzmisvo. You're also allowed to use it for wine, for laundering, and for soaking. You might use wine to wash your hands when there's no water. But when there is water, when there's water, you should not use the wine to wash your hands, whether it is undiluted or diluted. Even for washing, which is not for the purpose of eating. I guess that I'm not sure whether that should be worse. I would say that would be more of a reason to use the wine, not less of a reason to use the wine. In any event, I will have your zuma to remove dirt. Mutar ben b'shem ben b'shemen. You use wine and oil. In brachas, it says in fact that you have to use oil on your hands to make them fragrant before you make a bracha. That's muchua kra and shop. We perish Rashi. Shemen sheiru golim regilim labi b'savasu. The Rashi says talking about the oil you bring at the end of a meal, lasuche yadayim, to anoint the hands, lavir zumasa, to remove their pollution. Akal shona. Okay, nothing mayim achronim behind that, so you can use mayim achronim. I'm sorry, you use wine for mayim achronim, which kasavnu k'moshin nichtov sim kupei alef. Neish ma'avirin as a zoom because it removes the pollution from the hands. The Rambam's language is you can't cause a loss of food in a way which is degrading and, so to speak, kicking at them. But as long as something which is degrading, as long as it's for your purpose, necessary for your purpose, it is permissible. The Mishnah writes that it has to be the type of usage which is derech ha'olam. It can be something which is aberrant, something which normally people might use it for that purpose. The Biur Halacha writes that there's no clear source for that which is, he said here that when you use you can use wine instead of water, and therefore leads to tzarich ir. As machmer not to use. In fact, Mishabura says you shouldn't use wine for this time. Im b'shas atchak. Mishabura writes also that again for the end of the meal, the same for the mayim achronim part. Also, you should not use wine, other beverages, but not wine, because with chashivas. So he argues in this respect on the Arukh HaShulchan. Gimel, vein zorkin as a pass. If you don't toss bread, even though it won't get dirty, tossing itself is degrading. Just like you shouldn't throw bread, so you don't throw other types of food. But there's this difference. The issue to throw other food is only when they're going to get dirty by being thrown, and become repugnant as a result. Anything which is not going to become repugnant, egozim, ushkedim, nuts and almonds, rimonim, and pomegranates, I guess they don't split open. For chavushim, quinces, sheishla and klipos, which have peels, kashas, which are hard, and the food is not going to become disgusting. Mutter, right? Below dami lapas, not like bread. Because bread requires more respect, because people live on bread. Something about ksas kavod, you have to have a little bit of respect for it. Avlo sharachim, but not other foodstuffs. Even though there are those, there's no distinction in this respect, and it should be machir by other foodstuffs. Lo chashu l'deya zu. This opinion has not been taken into account when it comes to actual practice. Dalit, the v'adam mean should also leave smoke kara shamark b'pas. That can't support a plate of soup with bread. Shemi yishvei b'pas means 10 minutes go spill in the bread and make it disgusting. Zeuk she'eno ochel mipas ebishas ma'isa. That's you're not going to eat from the bread at that time while you're eating the soup. But if you are eating that bread with the soup, you can use that bread as a mark for the soup. Such as we eat the soup or hadais the cereal imapas with the bread, and the bread is being used like a spoon. Shokech ba'pas as hadaisa, you take with the bread the cereal, eat them together. It's true, even don't eat them together, but one after the other, it's not going to be degrading, but rather the normal way of eating. Nevertheless, the people who are meticulous, they always eat a little bit of bread with each bite, so it shouldn't look like the bread is just being used to hold up the plate. The rates they eat afterwards. Don't leave it around. You must because it's going to be repugnant. And that's the proper thing to do. Because otherwise using the bread like a piece of wood, a block of wood, and that's not an appropriate thing to do. So Lamaisa, obviously, if you're eating the bread with the soup, you should still do it with that covered, but then you're allowed to support the plate. Again, if you want to be machmir, you should eat a piece of bread with each spoonful of soup. But the point is that the ikar disgusting issue, or the ikar issue of becoming disgusting, is if you leave it around afterwards. Hey, sit on a basket full of figs, grogros, or dates, imakupa raka, if the basket is soft, because you press down on them with your body, they become disgusting. So it's only forbidden to sit on bread. But you could sit on a circle of pressed dates, or on a basket full of beans. They don't become disgusting that way. Without this, I'm not sure this comes up here, but whether you're allowed to sit on a box which has books, these Barbie, there's Simon Reish Pay Base, Ayin Sham, that comes up when you're there. You draw up wine in, it's like siphons, in straws, be in front of a chazakal. That was made in ancient times. It's not as degrading to the beverages. Simon type. Designed for a good sign. That just like the wine is being drawn, their tranquility should be drawn out. is done with the simcha for the simcha of chassan kala. But you make sure it shouldn't get lost. You should have plenty of kli, barosh piatzinor, but you should have a vessel to receive it at the top of the pipe. And they made a vacuum so the wine was spurted out, so you should catch as much of the wine as possible. And Mr. Bro also says that you should use specifically a wooden tube so it doesn't get disgusting. Obviously nowadays we use plastic. Back to Roshon, Zarkim, Rifneim, Kleos, Vegozim, be tossed in front of the Chassan Kala, toasted kernels of grain, and nuts, be Mosachama. In the summer, Shem nuts when they won't become disgusting. But not in the winter, when they're going to get ground into the mud and become disgusting. Even though they're in their shells, nevertheless, ravish with teeth, they fall into mud, they get really disgusting. So that's no good. The Sharat Sion says himself, says that even in the winter it's okay as long as they're in their shell, which is very rare nowadays. We don't seem to have as many anymore. Anyway, if we did it, we'd probably do it inside. Ugluskos, bread loaves, bread rolls, also rizoko, we're never allowed to throw. The pas, cholok, mishari, oiklami, and zrika, because bread is different than any other substance in terms of throwing, as we saw previously. People who still throw wheat in front of the chasanim, you have to be careful and throw it in a clean place. And also you should sweep them away from there so people won't step on them. Somebody who sees food on the ground, you should not pass by and leave them there. You should pick them up unless there is some possibility of sorcery involved. Mishnah Bura Beis Yosef says that there is no minimum manas. Mishnah Bura Beis Yosef says there is no minimum manas that to throw kernels of grain in front of the chassan. Back to Roshon, these sometimes ma'achol adam and ma'achol beima. Furthermore, you don't give human food to animals. Mishnah Bura says Eli Rabbah is not sure about this. Machzis the Shekel says if you don't have anything else, then everybody will agree that's permissible. Here in the brackets, Arukh HaShulchan says, "B'Shabbos Isa." B'Shabbos Shabbos it says, "Dafnun." The also leave to azeisim. You're not allowed to crack olives. I feel kuke pere. Even if you're doing it in order to sweeten them, meat nation you must because that makes them disgusting. Pirsha Arif, the rotzi toba yadayim. I guess you're cracking them in order to get some oil out of them to use as soap. And that's not permissible because Efshar not goes by Boris. Use regular soap. The Bisharatiyim therefore follows, which says that if you're not doing for soap, you're doing in order to make them sweet, then it would be permissible. Kufayim Beis. Mishachnis only mashkin talk people low bracha ma'aseh. Somebody put food or beverage into his mouth without having made a bracha. What does he do? Aleph. If you forgot and put food into your mouth without making a bracha, something which comes disgusting when you spit it out, put it on one side of your mouth and make the bracha. Something which won't become disgusting if you spit it out. You take it out of your mouth if you varech and make the bracha then. Why do we make you do this? Why is it not enough just to put it on one side of your mouth? Because the pasuk says, when I praise God, it should fill my mouth. I shouldn't have anything else in my mouth at that time. But if you didn't do that, you see like the tzadech, if you push it to one side and made the bracha, the bracha is a valid bracha. Remember when it's after you ate already, if you went into your stomach, ain't no varech. That's it. Can't make a bracha retroactively. Once it's cast aside, it's cast aside. You should make a bracha achrona. There's a kazayis. If you ate a kazayis, so that's about solid foods. Base. If you forgot and put beverages in your mouth below bracha, even though you haven't swallowed it yet, bolon, you swallow them, and bracha rishona. You don't make a bracha rishona. Why? The people once in his mouth, no longer considered to be a beverage. Nobody else is going to drink them. So it becomes like food after this it's swallowed. Came the itche, so once it's pushed off, it's pushed off. You only make bracha when there's a shear. Rambam says you swallow them and make a bracha after them. Kumar bracha choyna, an end bracha. Bir Alocha says that, Mishabura says that Levush Yisrael says if you put a little bit in your mouth and you can make a bracha, by pushing that to the side, you should make a bracha. I don't think Arukh HaShulchan would agree with that. Because Arukh HaShulchan would say that even a little bit in your mouth, it was no longer to be a beverage. Although I always thought like them, I always did like the Mishabura. I mean, assume that was halacha, but now I see Arukh HaShulchan, I retract, recant. But all this was here from the all was Arukh speaking in the Ram at the end. But the Ramah says you do make a bracha on them. That seems to be the actual halacha. So that's a rush because if Lodami says it's not like food after swallowing. The kan kevon shadayin before since it's still in your mouth. Dom over and still like as if it's before you consume them. Rambam, they also explain the Rambam this way. Shekain kavan also. This is what he means. Klomar shebarach lehem basof habracha rishona. At the end, they still make the bracha rishona then. Below mash b'kain, this doesn't seem the pshat in the Rambam. But it's from the Kesef Mishnah, rejects that pshat. The Arukh HaShulchan concludes, like he said before, and says the name of the Raven, that if he has no other beverage and he's compelled to drink this, he should swallow without a bracha. But if it's other beverage, he doesn't require this specific beverage now. Best to spit it out below below bracha, not to swallow without a bracha. Bir Allah says the you should conduct yourself that way, like Ravid, but if you're lenient, we can't protest. Obviously, there is some sensitivity to spitting out beverages. Back to Arukh HaShulchan, the Achronim agree with this, and because they ask in the Ramah, how can you possibly make two brachas so juxtaposed to each other? We never find two brachas adjacent to one another, believe hefsek davar b'neim. So that's actually between the two of them. Come levar b'shiva sama minim. Even according to his words, with the shiva saying bar bracha achroina, you must make a bracha achroina to have the right. So it sounds like what he's saying from the Ramah, his understanding of the Ramah is that you make a bracha rishona at that point and not a bracha achroina, because the amount you made had after the bracha rishona is not enough to have a bracha achroina. But he's saying that by shiva samini, where the bracha achroina is the raisa, there you should just, even according to the Ramah, you should discard the bracha rishona and make the bracha achroina. Be that as it may, Lamaisa seems that Arukh HaShulchan's svara is a good one, and that by beverages we should not make a bracha on them once you're in your mouth, unless you're able to drink something else instead or afterwards, which is sufficient shear. I mean, whatever it is, it's no sufficient shear. Kosher. Kuf Ayin Gimel Din Mayim Emtsoyim, the archaic halacha, we don't know, of water in the middle of the suda. Of course, everybody says Mayim Emtsoyim Rishus, water in the middle of the meal is optional. Mayim Ben Tavshil, Tavshil is between dish and dish. Avay Ben Tavshil Gvina Choiva. But between a dish and cheese, it's mandatory. The Kitzer Ma'od, this is very terse. This has no understanding. This is the matter. The Beso Perches, the brother, some Rabbanon, Akroi Rabbanon, linked to Psukim, Remind me, Shonim, my Machronim, just I'm my Machronim, I ain't Sham Luz Kalklam, I'm Tsoim, but not middle waters. Abuchuli, and I mean, I'm Tsoim Rishus. But it says there are middle waters in the optional. Rav Nachman says, Lo Shono El Ben Tavshil Tavshil. It's between dish and dish. Ben Tavshil Gvina, between a dish and cheese, Chova, it's mandatory. Beresh Rashbam, the Ben Tavshil Tavshil, between dish and dish, Zog Shishtem Shabasa, Shtem Shalvina. When they're both meat or both fish. Kamar Varchitza and the Kiyos Baum, and the wash is just for cleanliness. Ben Tavshil Basa Gvina, Shalfana, but between a meat dish and cheese which preceded it. Chova is mandatory. So it's Dabek Agvina b'Shibiyadav, that the cheese in his hands will not stick tafshil shogvina to the tafshil basar to the dish of meat. Reb Tam Perish the bein tafshil. Reb Tam says that between dish and dish, hainagankin tafshil basar tafshil shogvina is between a dish of meat and a dish of cheese. Since they're dishes, they're not actual meat or cheese. I mean, tafshil basar l'gvina atzma, but between a dish of meat and actual cheese, chovat's mandatory to wash mayim b'mtzoyim. Ayin sham atuperish gankin kain ayin sham. It's also what the Torah says. Mr. Bura says that that according to our minhag, you should wash your hands even between a dish of cheese and a dish of meat, which comes afterwards, if you touching them with your hands. And we don't not allowed to proceed without washing, except when the two tafshilim are similar in fleshik or milchik.